Well, hello. So today is June the 1st. And if you live on the coast, then you know that is the day that starts hurricane season. Hurricane. It's your H hand shapes. They're both exactly the same. You take your thumbs out and you just have it here, right? You can even touch them. And then if you're right-handed like me, then that's going to be the one that's on top. So one's facing out and one's facing in. And then it's going to just go back and forth, right? And then you do it in a swirling motion like a hurricane, right? That's hurricane. It's really easy. It looks like it's hard, but it's not. Same thing with tornado. You have your L hand shapes. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to twist it to where it's going to be on top. The same thing. The motion. Tornado, hurricane. Season. So I didn't do time-wise. You could. I do season, semester, season, and it would people would understand that season, hurricane season. You know, a semester, a period like a first period like in school. It's the same thing as an era, a season. So anyway, I was going to talk about maybe some hurricane preparedness. Now, hurricanes can cause flooding and tornadoes. So you could have damage to your home, to your car, and anything else. So people need to stay prepared. So the first thing is many people think about to evacuate, to escape, right? Evacuate. Evacuate. I say evacuate. There might be another sign, but it's to escape or to leave, right? You could even say, oh, you need to be ready to leave. Maybe you have family or friends that you can stay with. Don't know who, but you might want to think about it. Or just to understand that you may have to drive and stay in a hotel or hotel. It's a H hand shape and it's the flag, right? It's a flag waving. That was old hotels always had a flag waving, and so that's still the sign for hotel. You can even put it on a flagpole, but I just a hotel. So, or, you know, people camp. So that's the first thing you want to be ready for. And then most cities have an evacuation route, travel or route, or evacuation path. You could do that too. And it'll have like the hurricane symbol, you know, on the road, so you know that that's an evacuation route or route. My first, you know, gut is evacuate or route, because you know it could be like this. It's not necessarily a straight line, but you might want to say path or route, either one. So that's the first one, and then you would probably, if you stayed or left, then you would need to kind of get ready for supplies. And so the first thing that people think about, we're going to talk about that, I'm going to delay it a little bit, is food and water. But the first thing is, as many people don't think about, is maybe your medicines. Medicines. And so you would need to have enough for like 2 weeks worth, they say, because if you're on the coast, I did the southern coast, and then I guess I didn't do a full southern coast and the east coast. You may have your electricity out for like, you know, 2 weeks. You could say electricity or your lights out, either one, for about 2 weeks. And sometimes it's less. So they say anywhere from a minimum of 3 days to 2 weeks to have enough medicine. And if it needs to stay refrigerated, you need to make sure you have a cooler with ice. So you can just drive and pick that up, you know, at any convenient, I'm going to do corner store, convenience store, or anywhere while you're driving. So you, or even if you're at home and you know, oh, there's one that's coming, it's closer, and I'm going to stay home, you just need to go to the store and kind of stock up, right? So you're going to save, stock up. You can save this in a bank, you know, under your mattress or whatever, you know, it's a stock up. So you'd want to have a cooler and ice. You could say ice, you can spell it, or either one. And so, of course, you would use that also for food. But and you might need batteries, like for a flashlight or a hearing aid. And like for me, mine does not use batteries anymore, my hearing aids. So I would probably need to have like a solar panel. We'll talk about that. So that's something to think about. This like, oh, what do I need? What do I need? What do I use regularly for about 2 weeks? Something that you need to kind of plug in, like your phone, hearing aids, or other things that are important. So maybe a solar panel. They sell those, and it's not for big things, it's for smaller things. So you would need, and maybe some like first aid supplies, Band-Aids, any kind of antibiotic cream, or just various things where you might get hurt from something that's kind of the wind blows or whatever. So they always ask to have that first aid kit. And first aid, instead of spelling it, and you tell people about the supplies, scissors, blah blah blah, that you might want to keep maybe in your car, or you can have it in your bathroom. So it depends on if you decide to stay or leave. And sometimes people will keep things in their car, so it'll be a sense, so they don't have to go, oh, I need to pack and everything. They can just, if they decided, oh, the water's coming into the house and now we're going to have to leave, and so they don't have to pack a lot. And also, if you have a pet, you need to make sure that you have food for the pet and any medicine for the pet. If you have young children, you're going to have to make sure that you have any kind of medicine or diapers or milk, whatever. You can get like formula, and I've seen formula. Different deaf people use different signs for formula, so that doesn't need to stay refrigerated. And you need to make sure, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the food and the water. And so most of the time they suggest, like I said, 3 days to 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks. You could say 3 days up to 2 weeks, or maximum 2 weeks. You could do either way. Either one would work. And then you would need, they said that, I wrote it, I didn't write it down, but it was, I wrote it on my phone, because I couldn't find a pen. Anyway, that, it was saying that, every adult use, let's see, what, when you're looking for something, you lose it. Oh yeah, here it is. It's 1 gallon of water every day for each person. So it depends on how long that you want, and that is for drinking. So you're going to have to think about, where we're going to use the restroom. Do I need to kind of stock up on toilet paper? I would say yes. And then, because sometimes, like we have dried food, but it would need water. So I would need more than 1 gallon of water for each person. And then you would need the food. And so, like I said, dehydrated food. Or they say that ready to eat, MREs, that is really kind of preferable because you don't have to cook it. And you don't have to refrigerate it. So that's most important. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what is that? And so I have a list. And so I don't know why I'm losing everything on the, on my little list. I have to open up the little app again. Okay. So peanut butter. Most people think about that. And if you have like crackers, and then a protein, but that's not really, this is more of a science, so a protein bar. So protein, that is more of a scientific, where protein goes into your cell, and then we use this is also the sign for meat. It also can mean protein. So if you're talking to a deaf person, you don't want to make it like it's meat per se, but it is protein. So if you want to spell protein, then you can. Like a protein bar would be important. Then you could have like dried fruit, which I like to do that too, because I can kind of carry it in my car and eat it, while I'm working. Or you can even have like dried, and then cereal is a different, you could say cereal, that's worm. So cereal, or you could even spell it cereal or cereal. You can have soup because it is already cooked, and you can eat that. But they also say, they kind of caution to make sure that you have a can opener, or that you just get those pop tops, so you don't need one. But I think it's a good idea to have one, because you may be bringing tuna or salmon, and those are already cooked, so you can eat that. And you can have like the tuna on the crackers, those kinds of things. What else? But I liked, you can have like even freeze dried food, that's vegetables and fruit, and they're really good because they take it fresh and then they freeze it dried, and so it tastes like the normal thing. You kind of put it in your mouth and you think, oh, this is weird, and you put it, and as you kind of put it around your mouth, you're going, oh yeah, it tastes exactly like that. So I do that just because it's easy for me to transport while I'm working, so I do that. Any type of, you can have like vegetables that you don't have to refrigerate. They can be fresh. If you're frozen, they'll just thaw out, but they still have to be cooked. And I'm going to go into that. But the MREs, they are like in the packaging. You just open it and it's ready to eat. It's more like a stew and just various things, crackers and those things. But there's some things that you maybe want to cook. I remember several years ago, I was in a hurricane, and I had eggs and bacon and those things. But we stayed at home, and we had a grill. And so we cooked everything on the grill. And we had, the charcoal. And if you have like a gas grill, you'd have to make sure that you would stock up on that. Or you could have like, some people have electric, but then you would need a solar panel for that. Or you could use the charcoal. And so you can cook up maybe your meat or whatever that you want, your chicken, and then you can have it ready. Then it's cooked, and then you can put it in your cooler, right? In your cooler, but it's ready to eat, and it's not going to ruin as if it was raw. Or if you just have that grill and you have plenty of charcoal, then you can cook those things, which we did, and it was kind of fun, like you're camping out or whatever. But one thing about hurricanes is, every time that I've been involved in a hurricane, it's always hot outside. So those mosquitoes are out, and so you might need to kind of get some spray. So that's a good idea. And you need to know that you may not be able to shower or bathe. Some people will evacuate and they'll go to like a hotel, or they will go to a campground where they have showers and those things. So just be ready about what you're going to wear and put your hair up and those things that you may not have. I bought some dry shampoo so that I could have my hair clean. I didn't have to use it. I was very lucky, so I didn't have to. What else can, I think, they said that some juices, because they're already in a bottle, then they are safe. They don't need to have refrigeration. Also, boxed milk, they are shelf stable. You could do that. Or you could get the canned milk, like the evaporated milk. Get that. And so people won't get, oh, this is awful and bored. You might want to get some cookies or something that's fun, that people can, so they won't dwell on this awful situation. So you don't want a lot of spicy or salty food because it makes your mouth dry and then you're more thirsty, right? So you have to kind of conserve that water. But make sure you have enough water for any kind of food, cooking, or like you can have like dehydrated like rice and those things, but then you need water or broth to cook. So you might want to kind of stock up on broth to cook with, so you won't be using all the water that you need for drinking. So that's the most important, is the drinking for the water. Let's see. And then and you need to kind of clean. And also I had bought those like baby wipes, so I could kind of clean, you know, if I necessary. I think they may have some like bath wipes, but I just bought the baby wipes, and I have bought like both, and so you can do that as well, so you can stay clean, because it's harder when you're all just hot and sweaty and you're sticky, and it's just harder. Also, we invested in a generator. I'm going to spell it, and it's like an electrical machine, and so ours uses solar and gas. I bought my son one, and it could be both as well, which he was really excited about. So it's not just using the electricity, but it's or gas in case you run out, but it's solar as well. And so, but the gas ones, they last a long time, and that's something that you can hook up to the AC or to the refrigerator. And I'm talking about a window AC. And then some people they invested in the more expensive, where it's attached to their house, so they can have everything like normal. So you have to kind of be careful because of like washing your clothes. So if you hear of a hurricane soon, then you might want to wash your clothes, so you have those ready. And then your tub to fill it up with water, so you can ready and have enough. Like for the commode, you might want to pour that in there so you can flush it. And so you can just kind of live quasi normal. But if you leave or evacuate, either one, I mean, I like both sides personally. I think if I was just in a conversation, just chatting, I would probably say evacuate. Are you going to evacuate? Do you plan on evacuating? And then later I might, say, oh, were you going to stay or leave, right? So either one of them works, because the concept is really the same. This is kind of to run away or evacuate, but deaf people in ASL use that for evacuate. And it may be all of a sudden evacuate. And they said, to also pack like maybe some little games to keep your family busy, because you're not going to be able to watch TV. And if you have your phone or your tablet, then it would need to be plugged in. So you would need either that generator or the solar panel, so you could plug it up and charge it. And you want your phones charged and not being on it the whole time to deplete it, because maybe what if it's cloudy and you don't have the sun to give you that energy. So you just need to kind of be careful and plan the needs of your family, and think about what would be good or bad, and try to remember and plan ahead of time, like I said, for the games or things to do that don't take electricity, that don't take that power that is really needed for the most important things. And plenty of flashlights, and they don't have to be expensive ones, they could be the cheap ones, but you need to make sure that you have enough batteries so that if it goes out, then you can replace it easily. So there's just some things like you can get on sale that are cheaper, or you can go like to the dollar store, it may be a little bit cheaper. So you have time to kind of shop around with like what are the things that you need. Candles, people use that as well. Also, you can make like in a tuna can, and you can put like I misspelled it already, cardboard, and put it in a circle there, and then you have your wax, and that you just kind of pour in the wax. no water, sorry, I didn't mean to use that sign. And then you have like a little wick, and you can use that with material, or you can buy the wicks, and you can get those at like at hobby stores. And then you can, or even a match, you know, to kind of just stick up there, and then you can have that more. You can use it like light, but it's really more for cooking. So you can do that as well. So experiment if you go out camping, or you're just kind of thinking about it, and then think of the different supplies that you can either make or get, so that you can have it an easier time, or not as panicked, you know. And make sure that you have your driver's license, your social security card, and your birth certificate. That would be important, and put it into a baggie, because if you lost that, it's harder to get replaced. Also, make sure you have cash. Go to the ATM and get that cash. And because if all the electricity is gone, you may not be able to go to the store and buy anything. They may have their ATM that's down and it's not working. So you would need to be able to purchase something. So make sure you have cash. I've gone on and on and on, but I wanted y'all to be prepared for hurricane season. And I will see you later. Bye.